Picture this. You've gone through a tough legal battle for financial support, and the court says no. That's it. Decision's final. But what if there's another law on the books, a completely different legal door you could try to open? Can you really get a second bite at the apple? Well, today, we're diving into a fascinating case that answers that exact question.
All right, let's get straight to the heart of the matter. A court looks at the facts and denies your claim for maintenance. So that's the end of the road, right? Well, maybe not. What if you turn around and file a brand new case, this time under a different law, like the Domestic Violence Act? Is that a legitimate second chance, or is it just spinning your wheels in court? That's the puzzle we're going to solve.
And to guide us, we have a real-world legal drama from the Gujarat High Court. The case is Hemlataben Maheshbhai Chauhan versus the State of Gujarat. Her story is the perfect example of this legal double-take, trying to get another shot at a decision that was supposedly already settled. So let's unpack how the court navigated this tricky situation.
Okay, so here's the play-by-play. First, Hemlataben goes to court under Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code. The court denies her maintenance, saying her income of 2,500 rupees a month was enough, but they do grant support for her son. But she doesn't stop there. She files again using the Domestic Violence Act. And for a moment, it works. A magistrate grants her interim maintenance. But then her husband appeals, and a sessions judge flips the decision again, siding with him. It's a total legal roller coaster, with courts saying opposite things, which is why it all landed in the High Court for a final, definitive answer.
So you have to ask, what is really going on here? This case is about so much more than just one person's claim for support. What we're actually seeing is a high-stakes standoff between two powerful laws. And the huge question is, how are they supposed to work together without creating chaos in the courtroom?
Let's break these two laws down because this is where it gets really interesting. Think of Section 125 of the CrPC as the legal system's emergency first aid. It's a quick, fast-track remedy designed to prevent someone from becoming destitute right then and there. Its focus is super narrow. Can you support yourself, yes or no? But Section 20 of the Domestic Violence Act, that's like a comprehensive hospital visit. It looks at the whole picture: lost wages, medical bills, damages, all the financial fallout from domestic violence. It's a much, much broader remedy.
So if you're on Hemlataben's side, her argument makes a lot of sense. Her lawyers are saying, hey, these are two totally different laws for two different purposes. The DV Act covers so much more ground, so why shouldn't she be allowed to use it? After all, she was just asking for interim maintenance, some temporary help to get by while the bigger case moved forward. It seemed like a perfectly reasonable request under a law designed to protect victims.
But then you hear the husband's side, and it's also a really strong point. His lawyers basically said, look, a court has already decided this exact issue. The question of whether her income was enough for her own maintenance was asked and answered. Letting her bring it up again is basically asking for a do-over. They argue that the system already has a way to handle this, Section 127 of the CrPC. That's the proper channel you use if circumstances change. But in her case, nothing had changed.
So there you have it. Two compelling arguments, two distinct laws, and one person's financial future on the line. How does a court thread that needle? It has to provide help for those who need it, but it also has to ensure that once a decision is made, it means something. Cases can't just go on forever. So let's decode what the High Court finally decided.
Now, before we get to the verdict, we need to quickly lock in one key legal term: adjudication. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. Adjudication is just the formal process where a court hears a dispute, looks at all the evidence, and then makes a final official decision. It's the moment the gavel comes down and a specific issue is considered settled. And adjudication leads us right to this, an incredibly important principle in law. It's called res judicata, or issue estoppel. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but it boils down to something simple: the case closed rule. Once a specific issue between two people has been fully heard and decided by a court, you can't just keep bringing that same issue back to court hoping for a different result. It's all about fairness, finality, and preventing endless litigation.
And this is the moment Justice Akil Kureshi delivered the knockout punch. This quote right here is the core of the entire judgment. He said that the magistrate was wrong to grant maintenance in the second case unless, and this unless is everything, there were strong reasons to do so.
So what on earth counts as a strong reason? Well, the court was crystal clear. It doesn't mean you just think the first judge got it wrong. It means there has been a real, significant change in the facts on the ground, a material change. We're talking about a major life event, like you lose your job, or maybe your ex-spouse gets a massive pay raise, or you're suddenly facing a serious medical crisis. For Hemlataben, her situation was the same as it was in the first case, no material change.
And then the court laid out the correct roadmap. They said if life throws you a curveball and your financial situation genuinely changes, you don't file a whole new lawsuit from scratch. No, you go back to the original court and you use Section 127 of the CrPC. Think of it as the legal system's built-in edit button for maintenance orders when reality changes.
So, the High Court sided with the husband on that specific point of interim maintenance. But don't mistake this for a simple win or loss. The ruling was way more nuanced than that. So what's the lasting impact? Why are we still talking about a case from over a decade ago? Well, because it set a really important precedent.
This is really the genius of the court's decision. It's a balancing act. See, the court upheld the independence of these laws. It said Hemlataben's main case under the DV Act for things like protection orders could absolutely continue. But it also prevented duplicity. She couldn't relitigate the exact same maintenance issue. Her rights were preserved. If her job situation changed down the road, the door to Section 127 was still wide open. The court simply ensured she was using the right key for the right lock.
And of course, the law is always evolving. In 2020, a huge Supreme Court case, Rajneesh versus Neha, built on this very principle. It clarified that, yes, courts can award maintenance under different laws simultaneously, but, and this is a big but, they have to set off the amounts against each other. The goal is to provide fair support, not to allow someone to get paid twice for the same thing. No double dipping.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? The legal system has a whole toolbox full of remedies. And you are entitled to use every tool that fits your situation, but you can't just keep using the same tool on the same nail hoping it will suddenly work differently. Multiple remedies exist to solve different problems, not to give you multiple chances to solve the same problem. Because in the end, justice requires not only fairness but also finality.